All right, so today I want to talk about Mortal Kombat 1 and honestly, what happened with this game because I feel like NetherRealm really missed the mark with a lot of things in this game. So I'm going to be going over everything I don't like about this game because I think if they're going to make another Mortal Kombat or try to fix this game in some way, they need to know what exactly they did wrong and where exactly they went wrong. So I'm gonna try and pinpoint everything that I don't like so that maybe they can figure things out of where they went wrong and how to go about fixing either this game or the next one. So yeah, let's get started. So first off, I feel like when this game first showed its first trailer, right? That first trailer actually looked really good. And then later on, we would get some gameplay footage at the Summer Game Fest and it actually looked fucking awful. But that first trailer, ever since I saw that first trailer, to me, I was like, oh shit, I remembered the ending of MK11 and I remembered that Liu Kang finally got, the god powers and now he's kind of resetting the timeline. So when I remembered that and I saw this trailer, I was like, you know what they could do? Because in my mind, previously, I was like, well, there's MKX, there's MK11. People didn't really know how to feel about MK11. People liked MKX, but I hated it. It was an ugly game. Story was awful. MK9 is still that golden child of Mortal Kombat to me. In terms of the past recent Mortal Kombat games since the 360 era, Mortal Kombat 9, everybody loves it. Nobody hates on MK9, right? You have haters for MKX, you have haters for MK11. You definitely have haters for MK1, but MK9 is still that golden child. What if they were to just remaster MK9? And then I was thinking, instead of a remaster, what if it's kind of just a soft remake of MK9? Because MK9 was really just a retelling of MK1, 2, 3, but for the 360 generation, and it ended up being the best fucking Mortal Kombat game of all time. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like a good way for them to kind of, bring MK to the newer generation, because in the span of MK9, MKX, and MK11, it's been quite some time. And with this new timeline and Liu Kang able to rewrite history and have his own timeline, this is the perfect time to reintroduce MK to new audiences, to new fans, but also to give us kind of, a taste of that old MK, right? And yeah, you had MK11, which did go back in time, and that was like kind of cool, I guess, but to me it was really only cool to actually see MK with color again instead of that god-awful MKX game. But I digress. It felt like a huge missed opportunity to not just kind of redo MK9 with more enhanced graphics. Like, yeah, they could have had some changes here and there in the timeline, but I feel like for the old fans and the new fans, they should have just kind of redid what MK9 did, which was just retell MK1 through 3. They should have just retold MK9, added some new stuff, changed a little bit here and there, but for the most part kept it classic Mortal Kombat, I think that would have been really cool. I feel like it was a missed opportunity that they didn't do that, and now it feels like more than ever we need an MK9 remaster, because that was my thing. I was like, well, I really want an MK9 remaster, and I know a lot of other people wanted that too, and I was like, damn, what if this is it, but instead of a remaster, it's like a remake and it's just the next MK game? Like, that would have been fire, amazing. Yeah, so that's the first thing I feel like was a missed opportunity by them that I kind of noticed and felt. But when we get down to the nitty gritty of why this game sucks, let's be honest, it's the roster. The roster sucks ass. I will say there's a few good things here and there. Lee May being playable, W. Melina Katana Sindel being playable off the rip, W. But, that's kind of as far as it goes. I mean, yeah, they brought back Natara, but they made her look weird as fuck. Ashra looks kind of cool, but where's Jade? Where's Scarlet? Why is Sonya not playable? Why is Jax not playable? Noob Saibot came as DLC, okay. Kano not playable? Where's Nightwolf? Where's Cabal? Where's Kotal Khan? Why are we getting Conan the Barbarian? You know, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a little weird. And you know, the worst part is that, yeah, a lot of these characters didn't make the base roster, but we've already had 2 DLC waves, 6 characters each, and we still haven't seen these characters added in. And it's just, you know, they're not gonna add them because they're too busy wasting time adding guest characters and adding characters that nobody cares about. Like, oh my god, bro. Why are we getting Takeda before Sonya in this game? Why are we getting fucking Sector and Cyrax over Jade? And yeah, Sector and Cyrax are already in the game as cameo characters, but for whatever reason, they made them look worse in a redesign and made them playable characters. Arguably the 2 most cameo ass characters that could have stayed cameos. They're just bots. But no. But yeah, it sucks. I don't know. I feel like there's so many cool ass characters in Mortal Kombat, and it just feels like for whatever reason Mortal Kombat themselves doesn't want to include these characters because they're too busy trying to bring in guest characters that nobody fucking wants. And also they have a lot of cool female characters that I feel like they just never show any love, and it sucks, man. It sucks, bro. It really does suck. Or it feels like they have to split the cast of female characters between games. So like some games will get Jade, some games will get Melina, some games will get Scarlet, but never all in the same game except NK9, which is the GOAT. But you know what I'm saying? Like, why? Why do we have to split the female characters and female cast of characters between games when there's hardly enough female characters in the roster for these games every game anyway? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I don't know. But yeah, also, another thing I really don't like about this game is the way they changed Tanya. Yeah, I don't know. Don't get me wrong, like, they made her black, and listen, I'm black, so of course I would love to see my race being represented. You know, I'm always down for some diversity, right? I love cool black characters, you know, but I don't think making a character that's already not black to, you know, being their race changed into being black, I don't think that's the way to go. I don't think that's the right move for showing diversity. You know, that's kind of just shoving diversity down someone's throat in a not great way when you could just make new and interesting, cool black characters. Like Geras. I thought Geras was pretty cool, you know? And speaking of black characters, you could have just put Jax in the game. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like how they did Tanya. She was already a really cool character, and they made this new black Tanya, which again, if this new black Tanya was a whole new character, I think she would be way cooler. But the fact that they made Tanya into this black woman, it just, to me, doesn't feel right. It really doesn't feel right, and it doesn't feel like Tanya, you know? It's I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like how they did that at all. I also don't like how they changed the whole gender swap for Sector Cyrax. I mean, again, I don't care that they swapped their genders, but what bothers me is that because they're now women, they can say that, oh, here's the female characters we're adding. Like, here's the women slots for characters in our DLC pass. And it's like, to me, that just doesn't feel right because they're already robots. They're like bots you don't really see. You don't even really know that those are, you know, female characters, really. And it's not to say that, like, again, I don't care if they're men or women underneath the robot, the suit, but it's like, when I think of all the female characters in Mortal Kombat, a lot of them have really cool stories, but they also got that, you know, femme fatale energy, bro. And to me, Sector and Cyrax don't have that. It don't matter if you change what's underneath the robotic suit into a female. It don't really give that femme fatale energy that a lot of Mortal Kombat female characters have, you know, and that's the badass part about them, you know. And it's just, I don't know, man. Again, I don't like the idea of them using the fact that they just changed Sector and Cyrax, that are basically robots that you never see them outside of the suit, into females as their excuse to say, yeah, these are the female characters we're using for our slots in the DLC pass. And that to me just doesn't sit right, you know? When instead you could have got those guest characters that nobody cares about and added Lara Croft from Tomb Raider as a guest character, or Buffy the Vampire Slayer as a guest character, instead of Terminator, which we already had in the previous game, or Conan the Barbarian nobody give a fuck about. Like, it's just, you know, like, what are they doing? What are they thinking, bro? Like, it's just, man. But yeah, and since we're on the subject of DLC guest characters, yeah, I've mentioned this in a few other videos. Yeah, Homelander and Omni-Man don't really belong in MK1. I think they belong in Injustice 3, personally, or just in the world of Injustice. I mean, it's just, like, I get it, you know, the whole gore aspect of Mortal Kombat and how that could fit well with some of the characters since they are kind of sadistic, right? But to me, it just feels like these characters fit way more in the world of superheroes, way more in the world of Injustice than they do in Mortal Kombat. Like, people would line up to see Superman duke it out with Homelander, or Superman duke it out with Omni-Man. Ain't nobody give a fuck about Scorpion fighting Homelander or Sub-Zero fighting Omni-Man. No one cares. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Homelander can be a bit much and he can go crazy and he can do some gory things. So you could use that as an excuse to make him work in Mortal Kombat, but also that doesn't mean that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't mean that you have to see him do these super gory, grotesque things for him to still do crazy shit, right? It's kind of like saying that they can't tone down the blood or the gore just a little bit to make the character fit in a world where he belongs more so in, would almost be the same as saying that characters from Injustice can't fit into Mortal Kombat. And if that were true, why is Joker in MK11? Doesn't make any sense. So you can't really play one side and say, oh, Homelander only belongs in MK, he can't fit in Injustice, but then also be okay with Joker being in MK11. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I 100% think they could easily just tone down the blood a little bit for Homelander and Omni-Man's moves. And it honestly, like, now that they're in the game, I don't even see them do that many bloody things. Like, if I'm being honest, I think it's just their fatalities where they have a lot of blood, but that's basically it, bro. Like, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, I mean, I think they could easily tone some of that down if they wanted to keep Injustice 3 rated T for teen, and that's a whole other discussion. They could make Injustice 3 rated M. Like, you know, like, I'm just saying, I don't know. I feel like people try to defend Omni-Man and Homelander being in an MK over Injustice so hard, when actuality, like, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, you know? Like, I don't know. But yeah, that's another thing that really bothers me. Another thing too is I've seen mods for some of the female characters, like Lee May and Melina and Natara specifically, where the mods for their hair look better than how their hair looks in the game. Like Lee May's hair and Natara's hair, I'm gonna try and find pictures to show you guys on the screen. But yeah, they look way better in these mods than they do in just the base game. And I'm like, bro, like, why couldn't they just make the characters look like this, you know? Like, it's just like, I know this isn't a specific Mortal Kombat problem, but it's just one of those things where it really opens your eyes when you see a mod make a character or make the game look better than the actual game looks. And it's like, why couldn't the game itself just look like this, you know? It doesn't make sense. I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, I think Natara's hair and Lee May's hair should look like this instead of how it looks in the game. And I think Lee May looks great in the game, but Natara, I think, has always looked very off to me. Very weird, very ugly. I don't like how they modeled Megan Fox's face, but then, like, they somehow made her look uglier than Megan Fox and than the OG Natara. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, moving on to the story mode. Now, I actually kind of enjoyed the story. I think it had great moments, right? The fact that we got a lot of Melina, my favorite character, Big W. We got a lot of Sindel, which I thought they handled her very well in the story mode. Seeing her as like the Empress role and her bossing Shao Kahn around, I thought was fire. I love that. And also just the whole, Katana and Melina arc, I thought was really cool. I think it was cool seeing them in a different light, but at the same time, in a similar light. It was cool. I loved it. I really loved what they did with mainly Sindel, Katana, and Melina. Like, those characters specifically. And those are some of my favorite characters. So it was great to see them handle those characters really well and see them kind of, have their own light and have their time to shine, which feels like they haven't gotten their time to shine in a minute, since MK9, really. So yeah, that was cool. And also the whole Armageddon ending, I thought was really cool. It was a nice throwback. It was cool. I loved it. I thought that was really cool. I also feel like the whole story part where they had to pull characters from other timelines, I mean, that's like literally the perfect excuse to just bring any character from any previous Mortal Kombat game into the roster. You don't have to have a storyline that adds up with them being in at that point, but yet they still have so many Mortal Kombat characters that they didn't add for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't know, man. Anyway, although the story did have good moments, it also had its not so good moments. Like, what the fuck were they thinking with Sub-Zero and Scorpion? Like, bro, Sub-Zero and Scorpion, literally the faces of Mortal Kombat, lost all their aura in this story mode, bro. Literally negative aura after this story mode. I was like, bro. And then they decided to make them brothers for whatever reason, which was really weird. But yeah. Also, Raiden. They changed my boy Raiden. Raiden don't got that deep voice anymore, bro. Like, he's just a boy now. He's also lost all aura. Like, oh no, not Raiden. And then they, for some reason, put the combat kids in there, like at the end. Like, what the fuck was that? Get them out of here. I never want to see the combat kids again. Oh my god, bro. That was, disgusting. So yeah. That was weird. Now, past the story mode, the other things you can do for single player experiences in this game would be invasions, which I'm not gonna lie, I actually kind of like invasions. I think there's things they could do to improve invasions, but I think they've been doing a pretty good job of improving it in some ways. Like they recently made it to where keys don't take up an inventory slot, which is pretty good. But yeah, all in all, I kind of like invasions. I don't think it's bad, but I can understand why people don't like it. I think a lot of people compare it to the crypt, which I don't think it's comparable to the crypt. I think the shrine, which is absolute fucking garbage, is what the crypt was supposed to be, and they didn't have enough resources or enough budget to make the crypt, so they just gave us the shrine. The shrine is fucking terrible. I hate it. I think everyone hates it. It's awful. But yeah, invasions, I actually don't mind too much. I think it's actually pretty cool. I think they could improve on it, some more variety of the maps, of the missions, the challenges, etc. But I actually think invasions is pretty cool. But yeah, speaking of which, no crypt. Why is there no crypt? They definitely need a crypt. It feels like outside of the story mode and invasions, there's not really too much to do. To be fair, the story mode and invasions is a decent amount of stuff to do in comparison to other modern fighting games. So I wouldn't, I guess, go too hard on that point, but I do feel like they could add other stuff like that wouldn't be necessarily more single player experiences, but like add a 2v2 mode, add a 1v1 mode, add multiple ways to play this game, there's just so many things they could add that wouldn't necessarily be like whole new experiences, whole new modes, like a whole new story or a whole new invasions-esque mode, but you can just add the option of not playing with a cameo. And that would do so much for your community, for your player base. Add a 2v2 mode, go full in with the cameo system, make it to where it's actually 2v2s and you can have the other person have their own custom cameo, special move, whatever. Like, make it happen. You know, give us the option to have 4 people play with each other. Like, that would be dope. You know, it's just, I don't know. It feels like the whole cameo assist concept wasn't really fleshed out, and it feels like the roster suffered because of it. In my opinion, I felt like the cameo system was made so that we could get a bunch of characters from Mortal Kombat that people don't even remember, but we could get them as cameos. And then for the base, you know, playable characters, those would be the important characters that we actually, you know, want to play as, right? What actually happened was both sides of the coin, the cameo characters and the base characters, got cut because of them adding all these cameo characters. Because it feels like we don't have nearly enough cameo characters on the roster. And it also feels like we're missing a few key important characters in the base playable roster as well. Like, I was expecting an Armageddon type of roster, you know, with this introduction of cameo characters, but instead there's only like a few cameo characters. And I mean, they've been adding more, sure, but like, you know, some of them they're just turning into base characters, and it's like, okay, well, at that point, you know, you should just give us 1v1 and give us 2v2s, and then, you know, I don't know, it just feels like there should be way more characters in the roster, both base and cameo. But I think the whole cameo system is actually preventing them giving us more characters, and that's unfortunate. To me, if you're gonna add assist characters as a concept, that means you should have more characters in the overall roster of the game. But it doesn't really feel that way when I look at the roster for this game. So another thing that I don't like, well, I kind of like to some degree, the designs for some of the characters. Melina's design, amazing, amazing. I love it so much. And Melina's my favorite character. So the fact that we've got the best design for my favorite character, hey man, I can't hate too much. I will say I'm very grateful. But there are some designs for the characters that I don't really like. I've already kind of mentioned them. Natara, Tanya, Smoke, I'm not like the biggest fan of, I guess, but at the same time, they do kind of give us some of the costumes. Like, they have the MK9 Smoke costume skin that you can get, so that's kind of cool. If you don't really like the design for some characters, they do at least have options, right? Like MK9 Smoke or Deception Shao Kahn, fire skin. Some of the Deception skins go kind of crazy. So it's pretty cool that they bring back looks from the previous games if you don't like the base game's look. I like that. I like that. However, the problem with that is the way you go about getting those skins or those costumes is this item shop. They try to copy the Fortnite item shop, but instead of rotating it daily, it rotates weekly, and it barely rotates weekly because, I mean, yeah, it changes every week, but the problem is they change like one thing, and it's like the shop is not big at all, and it just feels like it never changes because when they change one thing, it's oh my god, it's awful. It's awful. The way they implemented item shop FOMO for the skins, it's awful. It is genuinely awful. It is so awful. Who thought that was a good idea? Who in their right mind thought that was a good idea for fighting games, bro? Like, it's awful. It's genuinely awful. But yeah, some other things that I can think of off the top of my head. The animations are kind of eh. I mean, they've always been kind of eh when it comes to Mortal Kombat games, right? But I really thought for this game, you know, with how beautiful it looks, that the animations would be kind of cleaned up, kind of a bit smoother. And they're not, but you know, it's like part of me is just whatever, like it's Mortal Kombat, like I'm used to it, and the game looks fine. Like, in motion, the animations are okay. I guess I've just seen so much Mortal Kombat animation to where it's like, you know, like it is what it is, you know, like I'm used to it, right? I don't think Mortal Kombat animations are like the worst, like ever. Like, I feel like some people just dog on the animation so much to where it's like, okay, it doesn't look that bad, but like it does have its own kind of wonky like charm, I guess, to it. But I do feel like, you know, again, if we were going with the whole new timeline type of feel, I thought, okay, maybe they just smoothen up those animations a little bit to where it actually is like, whoa, but no, we didn't get that, but that's okay. It's just, you know, it's just not surprising. It's just eh, like it's always kind of been eh, but now it's still just eh, like I don't know. And yeah, the Chaos Reigns DLC being $50, yeah, That's I don't even think I need to go into why that's a terrible idea, but I've also heard the story in that expansion is absolute garbage, so that makes it even worse. Why is there no PS4 and Xbox One version when there's a Switch version? Like, that looks awful? I don't know what they were thinking. I do know that there was a few of my buddies that didn't have a PS5 yet, and they wanted to get this game for some reason, but they couldn't get it because they only had PS4, and it's like, bro, like, why would you put your resources into a Switch version for this game? You know, most of the people that play on Switch are probably the younger audience, which probably ain't gonna be buying a rated M game. Again, I mean, I don't know the sales for this game on the Switch, but it just doesn't seem logical to make a Switch port and not a PS4 port when you know that not everybody has a PS5. Like, it's like, what were you smoking, bro? Like, why would, like, oh my goodness, bro. Yeah, I don't know if I already mentioned this, but why did they not add Lara Croft to the roster as a guest character? Huge fumble. Huge fumble. But yeah, that's kind of all the things that I don't like about this game. And it's unfortunate because I really do think this game has a lot of potential. You know, I kind of see it as the Street Fighter V of the Mortal Kombat franchise, where Street Fighter V came out and it was garbage. You know, it wasn't necessarily the gameplay, right? The foundation was there. People liked the gameplay. People liked what was there. There wasn't much else there. There was no content, you know? The servers didn't even work, so really all you had was arcade and story mode, and they didn't even add like the full, you know, cinematic story mode, right? Like, they added all this stuff to Street Fighter V later on, but they did stick with it. They did add stuff every single month, and they kept adding a lot of characters, a lot of costumes, until the game finally became what it is now, which is honestly the best Street Fighter in the franchise. But I feel like this game could become that, and I do feel like right now it's on a pretty good projected path. Like, I think people are starting to like it more and more, but it's unfortunate because according to recent leaks, all future content for the game just got cut because Chaos Reigns did not sell what it was expected to. So, and honestly, it's deserved because this game has made so many god-awful fucking decisions that it doesn't deserve more DLC. Even though I want it to, so desperately bad I want this game to get more DLC. I want this game to add Jade and Scarlet and Lara Croft. I want it so bad, but I'm okay with it not getting that. And I'm okay with it being canceled because it deserves it, man. It honestly genuinely does deserve to be canceled. And NetherRealm, I think, needs to put this series on ice, take some time to really think about Mortal Kombat and think about the characters, think about everything, because they are just fumbling so hard. They need to let us miss this franchise and let themselves miss it to remember what made it so good in the first place, you know? But will that happen? We'll see. Only time will tell. Yeah, that's gonna be it for this one, guys. Let me know what you guys thought about anything I had to say in this video. Also, leave a like and subscribe as well. That would help me out a ton. We talk about fighting games over here on this channel, so if you're interested, you already know what to do. But yeah, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and hopefully catch y'all in the next one.